The film starts with Chauvin, a marine biology student joining a fishing boat for her research. She's picked up by a man named Johnny. Once on board, she explores the surroundings and meets the captain, Gerard, and his wife, Freya. They discuss her purpose on the boat, which is to study and catalog the various marine creatures they might encounter during their fishing expedition. The crew doesn't seem to mind her goals. When Chauvin goes to the deck, she removes her jacket and hood, revealing her red hair. The crew reacts with fear, believing that having a red-haired person on board brings bad luck. However, since they have already accepted payment from Chauvin, they reluctantly set sail with her. As the fishing vessel heads towards its designated area, Chauvin meets Omid, a clever crew member who has ingeniously created a desalination device to provide fresh water, impressing her with his skills. Mid-journey, Gerard receives a transmission indicating that the fishing zone they are heading to is restricted, although it is teeming with fish. The area is off-limits because it is a protected zone, particularly for certain marine species like whales. Days pass, and unexpectedly they spot whales. The crew is puzzled by the presence of whales in that area. Soon after, their radar shows a mass moving towards the boat, and the vessel seems to hit something, causing it to stop. Upon inspection, they discover that the wooden hull is decaying and covered in a strange, slimy substance. Gerard inspects the situation and finds a peculiar organism attached to the boat. He tells Chauvin, "Didn't you want to study marine creatures? Now's your chance." Reluctantly, Chauvin dives into the water to see what's beneath the boat. The seawater there looked very dirty and murky. Chauvin was shocked to see many glowing tentacles attached to their boat. When she looked down, she saw what seemed to be a massive monster. She was startled by what she saw. The tentacles appeared to be attacking her, so she quickly surfaced. The crew asked her what was down there, but Chauvin couldn't explain in detail because she herself didn't understand what she saw. She only knew it was huge and had many tentacles. Gerard interpreted this as a giant squid and wanted to catch it. He instructed the crew to lower the net, but instead their ship was pulled downwards. Gerard eventually gave up and released it, puzzled because such a heavy creature couldn't possibly be a squid. Then an accident occurred. Johnny's hand got tangled and bled. He was quickly treated, and they continued their discussion as their ship was still stuck in the creature's tentacles. Suddenly, they spotted another ship nearby. They fired a flare gun, but received no response. They planned to board the other ship, with Chauvin, Gerard, and Johnny making the trip. Upon reaching the other vessel, they found the crew dead in horrific conditions. All the crew members were deceased, with one body missing its eyes. The cause was unknown. They quickly returned to their ship, but Chauvin was warned not to tell the others what they saw. Shortly after, miraculously, their ship was released from the creature's tentacles, allowing them to sail again. However, instead of leaving the restricted area, Gerard insisted on casting the net again. Initially, Freya resisted, but eventually agreed after Gerard persuaded her. The ship began netting again, seemingly catching a lot of fish, but something was off. There was a lot of mucus, similar to what the tentacles had released. As night fell, Johnny, whose hand was injured, felt feverish and unwell. He began acting strangely, wanting to jump into the sea. Fortunately, he was stopped by Chauvin and the others. Gerard, as the captain, scolded him, thinking Johnny was on drugs, but Johnny denied taking any. Chauvin suspected it might be an infection in his hand. When she looked into Johnny's eyes, it seemed like something was moving inside them. While Johnny was washing his face, he suddenly felt excruciating pain, and his eyes burst, releasing blood mixed with something strange. Everyone panicked, and Johnny died instantly. Freya was deeply saddened by what happened to Johnny. Chauvin then suspected the water might be contaminated. They all remembered another crew member who had been bathing, and sure enough, the dripping water caused his skin to blister and burn. Shortly after, they checked the water filter device and found it had been destroyed by the mucus from the creature. They then examined the water tank and saw many glowing tadpoles jumping around. The crew searched for a way to clear these creatures from their ship. Chauvin studied the mucus and discovered that it contained many eggs and larvae. After a few hours, they checked the water tank again and found that the net used for filtering was destroyed, indicating the creatures were still alive. They attempted to use chemicals to kill the creatures, but it was ineffective. Siobhan then thought of using ultraviolet light and asked Omid to create one from a phone light. However, the results were not very impactful. The crew was perplexed, so Siobhan planned to electrify the ship to kill the larvae scattered around. Freya initially objected, worried about the fire risk, but Siobhan convinced her by saying, "Choose your life or this old ship." Finally, Freya agreed, and the method successfully killed the larvae on the ship. Now they just needed to deal with the larvae in the water tank. In short, a crew member who had been infected while bathing eventually died. Siobhan suspected that the remaining crew members might also be infected. They then underwent a test conducted by Siobhan to identify similar symptoms to Johnny's. Each member was tested, and when it was Gerard's turn, Siobhan hesitated, already knowing that Gerard was infected. Shocked, Gerard retreated to his cabin, apologizing to Freya, feeling guilty for steering the ship into the restricted zone for fishing, which is why they saw whales. They were in a protected area. Gerard asked Freya to kill him rather than suffer like the others. Gerard ultimately died at Freya's hand, who was deeply saddened. Freya planned to leave the ship using a small boat and instructed Siobhan and Omid to burn the ship if things got out of control. Siobhan and Omid returned to check the water tank and found that the larvae had evolved into tentacled creatures, similar to the ones that had entangled their ship. Siobhan and Omid set the ship on fire, also sending a distress signal. In the distance, they saw another ship approaching. They prepared to leave on a lifeboat, but Omid, panicked because he couldn't swim, fell into the water. Siobhan bravely jumped in to save him and managed to rescue Omid from the creature's tentacles. Omid was saved, but Siobhan was injured on her hand and realized she was infected and could not return. Siobhan then jumped into the water, leaving Omid behind. She swam towards the creature, perhaps thinking that even if she died, at least she would know what the creature was. Omid was eventually rescued by the arriving ship, and the film ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.